I found out where the two of them were meeting, so I made a reservation for my in-laws and her. The hostess smiled at me and said, "Your table is ready." Behind her, I saw him. Not alone. Not confused. Not innocent. He was laughing. His hand was on her back. And right then, the doors opened again and my in-laws walked in. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from right now? Because what I did next changed everything. I stood there holding my phone so tight my fingers hurt. The lights were low. The place smelled like warm bread and sweet wine. The kind of place you go when you want to feel special. The kind of place my husband, David, always said was too expensive for us. Yet there he was, with Esther. And the reservation I made? It was for 7. I almost walked away. Almost. But then David turned his head, and our eyes met. That's where it all started. My name is Ruth. I'm 32 years old. I work long hours. I don't ask for much. And for 10 years, I believed I was married to a good man. David and I met at church. He read from the book of Psalms the first night we talked. I remember thinking his voice sounded safe. He promised me honesty. He promised me faith. He promised me forever. I believed him. For years, life felt normal. Not perfect, but real. Morning coffee. Shared bills. Quiet prayers before bed. His parents, Eli and Naomi, treated me like their own daughter. They trusted me. They loved me. That's why what I discovered felt like falling through ice. It started small. Too small to scream about. David began working late on Thursdays. Every Thursday. At first, I didn't mind. I trusted him. But trust is funny. It breaks slowly. Quietly. Like a crack you don't see until the floor gives way. One night, his phone buzzed while he was in the shower. I didn't mean to look. I swear I didn't. But the name on the screen stopped me. Esther Cherry Blossom. No last name. Just a flower. The message said, "Same place tomorrow." I can't wait. My chest felt tight. Not angry. Not yet. Just cold. I told myself it was work. Church. Planning something nice. Anything. But then Thursdays came again. And again. He stopped kissing me goodbye. He stopped asking how my day was. He stopped touching me like I mattered. That's when I started paying attention. I checked our bank account. Just to be sure. There it was. A charge. Same restaurant. Same time. Every Thursday. I searched the place online. Candlelight. Soft music. Romantic tables for 2. My hands shook so bad, I had to sit down. Still, I needed proof. Not feelings. Proof. I followed him the next Thursday. I stayed far back. I felt stupid. Like a spy in my own life. But when I saw him park and walk inside, my heart broke open. I waited. 10 minutes later, she arrived. Esther was beautiful in a quiet way. Long dark hair. Calm smile. The kind of woman people trust without asking why. She touched his arm when she laughed. He leaned in close when he spoke. I went home that night and cried into my pillow so he wouldn't hear me when he came back. I didn't sleep. The next morning I made a choice. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to beg. I was going to know everything. I searched her name. It didn't take long. Esther was married. Her husband's name was Solomon. A good man from what I could tell. A teacher. Away for work most of the year. The kind of man who trusted easily. That's when something in me changed. Not rage. Focus. If they wanted secrets, I would bring light. I waited 1 more week. I watched. I learned. Same table. Same smiles. Same lies. Then I called a restaurant. "Hi," I said calmly. "I'd like to make a reservation for next Thursday." "How many?" the hostess asked. I smiled to myself. 7, I said. "Private table." "Any special occasion?" "Yes," I said. "Family." Then I made the next call. "Eli?" I said. "Naomi? I was hoping you and Dad could join us for dinner Thursday night. David wants to show you something important." They sounded happy. Excited. They said yes right away. Then I made one last call. "Esther," I said when she answered. This is Ruth, David's wife. Silence. I know about the dinners, I continued. I know where you meet. And I think it's time we all stop pretending. Her voice shook. What do you want? I looked at the reservation email glowing on my screen. I want the truth, I said. So I made room for everyone. She hung up. Thursday came faster than I expected. I wore a simple dress. Nothing loud. Nothing angry. I wanted to look like myself. The woman they both underestimated. When I walked into the restaurant, my heart was beating so hard I thought people could hear it. That's when I saw them. David, Esther, laughing. And then Eli and Naomi stepped through the door behind me. I didn't turn around right away. I just stood there. Because in that moment, I realized something terrifying. I wasn't sure who was about to break first. And as the hostess reached for the menus and said, "Right this way," David opened his mouth to speak. But I had no idea if I was ready to hear what he was about to say. David froze when he saw his parents. Not a soft pause. Not surprise. He froze like a man who had just stepped off solid ground and realized too late there was nothing under his feet. Eli smiled first. Big, proud, warm. "There you are, son," he said, opening his arms. "We were worried. We were early." Naomi leaned in and kissed David's cheek. "This place is beautiful," she said. "Ruth, sweetheart, you picked well." I nodded. I didn't trust my voice. Esther stood up slowly. Her smile had vanished. Her hand slipped away from David's arm as if it had burned her. She looked at me like she was seeing a ghost. Then she looked at David, waiting, hoping, begging him to fix this. He didn't. The hostess cleared her throat. "Your private table is ready," she said cheerfully, completely unaware she was guiding a group of walking lies toward judgment. We followed her. The room was quiet. Soft music. One long table. 7 chairs. 7. David sat stiffly. Esther hesitated, then sat across from him. I took the seat at the head of the table, where I could see everyone's face. Eli and Naomi sat beside David, smiling, relaxed, trusting. Solomon's chair was empty. For now. Naomi clasped her hands. "So," she said brightly, "Ruth said you wanted to show us something important." David swallowed. His mouth opened. Closed again. Esther spoke instead. "There's been a misunderstanding," she said quickly. "David and we're working on a project together." "A project?" Eli asked. "What kind of project needs a place like this every Thursday night?" The question landed heavy. David finally found his voice. "Dad, please. This isn't the time." I smiled. Calm. Controlled. "Actually," I said, "this is the perfect time." I reached into my purse and placed my phone gently on the table. Not slammed. Not dramatic. Just enough sound to make everyone look. "I didn't bring you here to yell," I continued. "I brought you here because I believe the truth deserves witnesses." Esther's eyes filled with tears. "Ruth. Please," I said softly. "Let me finish." Naomi's smile faded. "Ruth, honey, what's going on?" I looked at David. 10 years of memories pressed behind my eyes. I pushed them down. "For months," I said, "David has been meeting Esther here. Same night. Same time. Same table." Eli frowned. "David." David stared at his plate. "And during those months," I continued, "he told me he was working late. That we were saving money. That we were building a future." Esther shook her head. "It's not like that." "Then explain it," I said. Silence. I turned to Naomi. "Did you know this restaurant costs more than our grocery budget for a week?" Naomi looked at David, confused. "Is that true?" He nodded once. "Barely." Eli's jaw tightened. "Son." I opened my phone and slid it toward the center of the table. The screen showed the charges. Dates. Times. Esther's breath caught. "This," I said, "is not a business dinner." Naomi's hands began to shake. "David, are you having an affair?" The word hung there. Heavy. Ugly. David finally looked up. His eyes were wet. "Yes." Naomi gasped. Eli leaned back, as if someone had struck him. And Esther, I said, turning to her. You're married, too. Naomi's head snapped toward her. Married? Esther whispered. Yes. To Solomon, I said. Who trusts you? Who thinks you're faithful? Who doesn't know you're here right now? Esther broke. Tears spilled down her face. I was lonely, she sobbed. He's always gone. I didn't plan this. It just happened. David reached for her hand. I laughed. A short, sharp sound. Don't. He pulled back like a child caught stealing. Eli stood up. I need air. Naomi followed him out, stunned, silent. The door closed behind them. The room felt smaller. David looked at me. Ruth, please. We can talk about this privately. I shook my head. No. We've done private. This is what private got us. I tapped my phone. And we're not done yet. I pressed call. Esther's eyes widened. Who are you calling? I didn't answer. The phone rang once. Twice. Hello, a man said. Solomon's voice. Esther let out a broken sound. No, please. Solomon, I said. My name is Ruth. I'm David's wife. A pause. Okay. I'm sitting across from your wife. I continued. At the restaurant she meets my husband every Thursday. Silence. Then, very quietly, where? I gave him the address. I'm on my way, he said. The line went dead. David stood up. Ruth, this is too far. I looked at him. You went too far when you chose her. Minutes passed like hours. No one spoke. Esther stared at the table. David paced. Then footsteps. The door opened. Solomon walked in. He was calm. Too calm. His eyes went straight to Esther. Is it true? He asked. She nodded, crying. He looked at David. You? David nodded. Solomon exhaled slowly. Sit down. David obeyed. Solomon turned to me. I'm sorry. That broke something in me. I stood. I didn't do this to us. They did. Solomon nodded. I know. He looked at Esther. We're done. She cried harder. Eli and Naomi returned then. Naomi took in the scene and collapsed into a chair. This family is broken, she whispered. I felt tired. So tired. I picked up my purse. This is only the beginning, I said quietly. David looked terrified. What do you mean? I leaned close enough that only he could hear. I know everything now, I said. And next time, everyone will. I walked out. Behind me, chaos erupted. Voices raised. Chairs scraped. Esther sobbing. Naomi praying. Eli furious. But I didn't turn back. Because I knew something they didn't. This dinner wasn't the end. It was the warning. And what I was planning next would make tonight look gentle. Subscribe to this channel to support our growth. I didn't go home that night. I drove. No music. No tears. Just the sound of my breath and the hum of the road under my tires. Austin lights blurred past me like nothing was real anymore. I kept replaying Solomon's face in my head. Not angry. Not loud. Just empty. The kind of quiet that means something inside a man has snapped clean in half. That was when it hit me. This wasn't just about cheating. This was about lies stacked on lies, about people building whole other lives while standing in the middle of mine. My phone buzzed. David. I didn't answer. Then Naomi. I pulled over and answered that one. Ruth, she said, her voice shaking. Where are you? I'm safe, I said. I just need time. Oh, sweetheart, she whispered. I don't know who my son is anymore. Neither did I. I hung up gently and stared at the steering wheel until my hands stopped shaking. I thought the pain would come like fire. It didn't. It came like ice. The next morning, I went back to the house early. David's car was already there. He'd beaten me home. He was sitting at the kitchen table when I walked in, still wearing yesterday's clothes. His eyes were red. He looked smaller somehow. Ruth, he said, standing. Please. Let me explain. I put my bag down slowly. Calmly. You had months to explain. I was going to end it, he said quickly. I swear. I laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was insulting. When? I asked. After another dinner? Another lie? Another Thursday? He reached for me. I stepped back. Don't, I said. I don't know where your hands have been. That hurt him. I could see it. Good. I made a mistake, he said. No, I replied. You made choices. Over and over. He sank into a chair. I don't love her. I tilted my head. That's not the comfort you think it is. Silence fell between us. Then I asked the question I'd been holding in my chest all night. How long were you planning to keep the money hidden? His eyes flicked up. Too fast. What money? There it was. The crack. I pulled out my phone and set it on the table, just like the night before. The transfers, I said. The withdrawals. The account you didn't think I checked. His face drained of color. You went through my accounts? Our accounts, I corrected. And David, I know about the second account. He stood so fast his chair fell backward. Ruth, listen. No, I said. You listen. I know about the cash withdrawals. I know about the payments that don't match any bills. And I know you were helping Esther plan something. He looked trapped, like an animal cornered. She needed help, he said weakly. She was stuck. Solomon controlled everything. I stepped closer. So, you decided to become just like him? That shut him up. I turned away, my heart pounding now. Not from heartbreak, but from clarity. I went upstairs, opened the closet, and pulled out a small box he didn't know I had. Inside were copies, screenshots, dates, names. I came back down and placed it on the table. What's that? He asked. Your problem, I said. His phone buzzed. Once. Twice. He looked at the screen and flinched. Esther. Answer it, I said. He hesitated. Answer it, I repeated. He put it on speaker. David, she said, her voice tight. What is happening? Solomon left the house. He won't answer my calls. David swallowed. Ruth told him. A sharp inhale. You promised me you had this under control. I couldn't help it. I leaned in. Funny. He promised me the same thing. Esther went quiet. Then she said my name. Ruth, please. Please what? I asked. Please let you keep my husband? Please let you keep my silence. I never meant to hurt you, she said. That makes one of us, I replied. David cut in. Esther, stop. This is over. She laughed. A broken, desperate laugh. You don't get to decide that. Her words sent a chill through me. What do you mean? I asked. She didn't answer me. She spoke to David. Did you tell her about the documents? David closed his eyes. My stomach dropped. What documents? I demanded. Silence. Then Esther spoke softly. The ones with your name on them. I felt the floor tilt. David, I said slowly. What did you sign? He shook his head. It's not what you think. That sentence, I said, is always what I think. He finally looked at me. I put the house up as collateral. The room went quiet. For what? I whispered. For her, Esther said. My knees almost gave out. You used our home, I said, my voice barely there. To back her debt? David reached for me again. I slapped his hand away. You risked my safety, I said. My future. Esther's voice cracked. I was desperate. I laughed again. This time it sounded ugly. So was I. But I didn't steal someone else's life. I hung up the phone. I turned to David. Get out. What? He said. Get out. This is my house too. Not anymore, I said. I called a lawyer this morning. That was a lie. But it wouldn't be by nightfall. He stared at me, stunned. I grabbed my keys. You have 1 hour to take what you can carry. If you're still here when I get back, I call the police. He didn't argue. When I came back, the house felt hollow, like a shell. I sat on the floor and finally cried. Not loud, not pretty, just tears soaking into the carpet. Then my phone buzzed again. A message from an unknown number. This is Solomon. We need to talk. I know something you don't. My breath caught. What? I typed. He replied almost instantly. Esther didn't plan this alone. I stared at the screen. Who helped her? I asked. 3 dots appeared. Then disappeared. Then appeared again. Finally, the message came through. David wasn't the first, Solomon wrote. And he wasn't the last. My heart started pounding so hard I thought I might pass out. Before I could reply, another message came in. A photo. It showed Esther, laughing, at a table, with another man, not David. And the date on the photo? 2 years ago. I dropped the phone, because suddenly I understood something terrifying. I hadn't uncovered a secret. I'd uncovered a pattern. And I had no idea how deep it went. Subscribe to this channel to support our growth. I sat there on the floor for a long time after seeing that photo. Esther, another man, another table, another smile that wasn't meant for the person who trusted her. 2 years ago. My hands felt numb. My heart wasn't racing anymore. It was worse than that. It was quiet. Too quiet. Like the moment before a storm hits and the air feels wrong. I picked up the phone again. What do you mean, he wasn't the first? I typed to Solomon. The reply didn't come right away. I stood up, walked to the kitchen, poured myself a glass of water, and realized my hands were shaking so badly I spilled it all over the counter. Finally, my phone buzzed. She's done this before, Solomon wrote. Different cities. Different men. Same story. I leaned back against the counter, sliding down until I was sitting on the floor again. She always finds men who are married, he continued. Men with something to lose. Men who won't go public. My chest tightened. Why didn't you stop her? I typed. I didn't know, he replied. Not until now. She's careful. She plays weak. Lonely. Faithful wife waiting at home. That image made me sick. How did you find out? I asked. After you called, Solomon wrote. I started digging. Phone records. Old emails. I found messages she forgot to delete. Names I didn't recognize. Men who suddenly stopped responding. I closed my eyes. How many? I typed. There was a pause. Longer this time. 4, he wrote. That I can prove. 4. David was number 5. I thought about all the Thursdays. All the lies. All the money. And suddenly David didn't look like the mastermind he thought he was. He looked like prey. And that scared me even more. Because prey still causes damage when it panics. I sat there until the sky outside the windows turned gray. Morning was coming whether I was ready or not. I knew one thing for sure. This wasn't over. Later that morning, Naomi came by. She didn't knock. She still had a key. When she saw me sitting on the couch in the same clothes as last night, her face crumpled. Oh, Ruth, she said, rushing to me. I let her hug me. Just this once. I raised him better than this, she whispered through tears. I don't know where we went wrong. I didn't answer. Because right then I didn't care where David learned to lie. I cared about how far those lies went. She pulled back and looked at me. Eli is furious. He hasn't spoken to David since last night. Good, I said quietly. She nodded, then hesitated. Ruth, is there anything else? Anything we should know? I looked at her face. Kind. Worried. Tired. I almost told her everything. Almost. But something in my gut told me to wait. I'm still finding things out, I said carefully. She squeezed my hand. Whatever you need, we're here. When she left, I called a lawyer. Then another. Then a financial advisor. By noon, I had confirmations that made my stomach twist. The house really was tied to Esther's debt. David had signed without my consent. And if things went bad, they could come after me too. That was when anger finally arrived. Not loud anger. Clear anger. I went upstairs and opened David's old laptop. The one he thought was broken. The one he forgot about. It wasn't broken. I logged in easily. Same password he always used. A Bible verse. How fitting. What I found made my blood run cold. Emails. Drafts. Plans. Esther hadn't just been asking for help. She'd been directing him. Telling you when to move money. Telling you what to say to me. telling you to keep things in cash. One message stood out. If she ever finds out, deny everything. I've handled women like her before. Women like me. I felt something snap. I forwarded everything to myself. Then my phone rang. David. I let it ring. Then he texted. Please. We need to talk. She's not who you think. I laughed out loud. Oh, David. I whispered to the empty room. Neither are you. I typed back. I know about the others. 3 dots appeared instantly. Then nothing. Minutes passed. Then another message. Solomon told you. I didn't answer. My phone rang again. This time, it wasn't David. It was an unknown number. I answered. Ruth, a woman said softly. You don't know me, but I think we've been hurt by the same person. My heart started pounding again. My name is Miriam, she continued. Esther destroyed my marriage 3 years ago. I stood up slowly. She told my husband the same things, Miriam said. That she was lonely. That no one understood her. That she needed help. I closed my eyes. I saw what happened last night, she said. Someone posted about it online. My breath caught. Posted what? A video, she said. From inside the restaurant. The room started spinning. Ruth, Miriam continued, this is bigger than you think. And Esther knows it. She's scared. That was the first good news I'd heard all day. Why are you calling me? I asked. Because, Miriam said, she's trying to run. And she's taking everything she can with her. My heart dropped. What do you mean? She emptied 2 accounts this morning, Miriam said. And she's been calling people. Threatening them. Threatening. That word stayed with me long after we hung up. I checked my phone. A new message from Esther. I need to see you, it read. Alone. I stared at the screen. No, I typed. You've said enough. Another message came immediately. If you don't meet me, she wrote, you'll regret it. My skin prickled. I forwarded the message to my lawyer. Then another message came in. A picture. It was my house. Taken from across the street. My heart stopped. The message under it read, you shouldn't have involved everyone. I dropped the phone. This wasn't just betrayal anymore. This was war. And Esther wasn't done playing. My heart was still racing when my phone rang again. This time it was my lawyer. Ruth, she said, serious now, no warmth in her voice, do not meet her alone. If she's sending you photos of your house, this has crossed a line. I know, I whispered, staring at the picture Esther had sent. My house. My front door. My life. We're filing for an emergency protective order, she continued. Today. I also want you somewhere safe. I looked around the living room. 10 years of memories. A couch David and I picked together. A wall where we measured future children we never had. I don't want to run, I said. I understand, my lawyer replied. But right now we need to be smart. After we hung up, I called Solomon. She sent me a photo of my house, I said. He didn't sound surprised. She did that to Miriam too. To scare her. Did it work? I asked. Yes, he said honestly. For a while. That settled something inside me. I wasn't going to be afraid. I called Naomi next. Can I come over? I asked. Just for tonight. Of course, she said without hesitation. Your family. I packed a small bag and left the house before sunset. As I pulled out of the driveway, I checked my mirrors twice. No one followed me. That night, I didn't sleep much. Naomi made tea and sat with me at the kitchen table, her hands wrapped around her mug like she was holding on to the last solid thing in the world. She fooled us, Naomi said quietly. All of us. Yes, I replied. But she won't anymore. The next morning, everything moved fast. My lawyer filed papers. The bank froze accounts. The house was protected. And then the news broke. Someone leaked the restaurant video. Not just to friends. To everyone. By noon, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Messages from people I hadn't spoken to in years. Women. Men. Strangers. She did this to my brother. She tried this with my husband. I thought I was the only one. Esther's pattern was out. And once a pattern is seen, it can't be unseen. That afternoon, David showed up at Naomi's house. Eli didn't let him inside. I watched through the window as father and son argued in the driveway. David looked broken, smaller than I'd ever seen him. Finally, Eli pointed down the street and told him to leave. David looked up and saw me. For a moment, we just stared at each other. Then he walked away. I didn't cry. Later that evening, Solomon called me. "She's gone," he said. "Gone where?" I asked. "No one knows," he replied. "She emptied what she could and disappeared." I let out a long breath. "Is that it?" I asked. "No," Solomon said. "It's just the end of her running." Weeks passed. Court dates. Paperwork. Long conversations that hurt but healed at the same time. Esther was eventually found in another state, trying to start over under a different name. It didn't work. Too many people knew her face now. Too many stories matched too closely. Charges were filed. Civil cases followed. David lost everything that mattered to him. Not because I wanted revenge, but because lies collapse when the truth stands long enough. The house stayed mine. The silence inside it slowly changed from painful to peaceful. One evening, months later, I sat alone at my kitchen table with a cup of tea. The same table where I once waited for a man who never came home on time. My phone buzzed. A message from Miriam. "Thank you," it read, "for not staying quiet." I smiled softly. I had learned something important through all of this. Love should never make you smaller. Truth should never need hiding. And silence only protects the wrong people. I didn't win because I was loud. I won because I paid attention. And somewhere out there, someone watching this story might be noticing the signs for the first time. If that's you, trust yourself. And if you want to hear more stories like this, subscribe to this channel to support our growth.